So, a while ago, I got a hearing aid.
Oh, yeah.
Like 2 years ago is when I got it. And I've never felt like it's been doing its job. And I'm sure my family thinks that as well, that it just hasn't been performing the way it should have been. So I made a new appointment and I went in yesterday to get it looked at. And come to find out, I was using about 30% of it.
What?
Yeah, my hearing was still like 30%. And, they kind of want you closer to 100. You did just spend
ballparking it. Yeah.
You did just spend a bunch of money on a hearing aid. You probably should make sure it works. So I got retested and I got tested again and again. And thankfully the person was very patient. And now I'm back up to like 80% in my right ear, which is amazing. It's like I'm hearing a new world.
So how do you know they were patient? You probably couldn't hear them cursing you out the entire time.
No, never. I hear my family do that now. And
is this what it's been like all along?
Right. Were you doing this the whole time? So that is amazing. I feel like I actually have at least a resemblance of my right ear back.
Nice.
It is kind of amazing that, now I get a little feedback because sometimes it's a little too loud, but I'd rather have that than hear and me go, what? And then they say it a little louder.
Like the teachers from Charlie Brown.
And you go, what? And it's like, and then you kind of interpret what they're saying, and it's usually not what they're saying, and then they get mad, and then you get frustrated.
You agreed to take the garbage out. I did?
I did? When? So
tonight you were supposed to make dinner.
Oh,
dang it.
Ricky, I can't hear you. I listened to too much music as a kid. You're ancient. No, they didn't exactly tell me why. It probably was sleeping with headphones at night as a kid, like every night, blaring music in my head. And then, once in a while, our dear friend Dana taught me how to pop my ear with my finger.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And that may have done some more damage than I like to admit. But I'm not blaming Dana. I'm the one that popped my ear. But it was probably a mix of that, and who knows, genetically. I now wonder if my dad ever heard me,
Yep. That would explain so much childhood trauma
right,
built up over the years.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I love the testing. You sit in this enclosed booth and you have these headphones on and they say, repeat these words. And then you hear a voice go, mushroom. And you say, mushroom. School. And then it gets lower and you hear, and you go, cotton candy.
Dang, you're good.
I hate myself.
Yeah.
You're listening to, and this is why I love comics.
Andy and Mike. Andy and Mike.
Please elaborate.
And welcome to another episode of This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And that's Mike. And we're here today. Thanks for listening. We are talking about Marvel's Civil War. Did you know they had a Civil War? Man, that's pretty bad. 2006 to 2007, it's a Marvel Comics crossover event. It was 7 issues, written by Mark Millar, penciled by Steve McNiven, and it had a bunch of tie-in books, of course. According to the Wikipedia, it explores the conflict between freedom and security against a backdrop of real-life events. Yeah, so that was Civil War. Yeah, we're done with that. On to the next one. Did read this several times in preparation. We were going to talk about it a while ago, and then aliens arrived, and we were abducted, and now we're back again. So I had to read it again. And I must say, I liked it just as much as the first time,
Nice.
Which is to say, it was okay. I thought the art was okay. You know, the tagline is, "Whose side are you on?" And of course, you know, there was a movie, but I wouldn't say it was even kind of adapted the storyline, because it really, I mean, it was maybe you could call it loosely adapted. You know, in my opinion, the movie was better than the book. I never say that a lot.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of factors that kind of go into it, between constantly introducing new characters in the comic. You're a finite number of characters in the movie. That's probably, to me, one of the biggest things, because it got difficult to follow when there's every 2 panels new character.
Oh, whose side is he on? Now, of course, it was Captain America versus Iron Man was kind of the big hoo-ha, and which hero was on Iron Man's side, which hero was on Captain America's side. But I'm going to ask Mike, whose side were you on?
Ooh, I was on the side trying to get through all 7 issues.
I was on my backside, you know.
It was definitely on my good side. If I had to choose, I would say Cap, because again, the whole premise goes out the door by the fact that, you know, these guys are all costume heroes. What are you going to do? What kind of stakes can you really make about costume heroes? And then the characters that were like, oh, it's okay, you know, we can reveal who we are. It's like, you already did. You know, the Fantastic Four, there was never a mystery as to, like, Mr. Fantastic, who's that guy? You know,
he kind of looks like that Reed Richards guy.
Like, you know, he kind of bypassed the whole point of the registration thing. But I also felt as if there was just so many characters that you're getting to a point in which, is there any humans? I mean, like, the only humans are the ones, like, when they, well, again, spoilers, but the whole comic hinges on one incident. And that incident was some superheroes that got a little cocky and were filming themselves for reality TV, some clickbait stuff, and then got mixed up with some heavy hitter villains, and one of the villains exploded, taking out, was it like 900 people?
Yeah, 900 civilians and the heroes.
Yeah.
Although
and it's
I bet you they're all back by now.
Yeah, certainly. But it was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's a thing, you know? And then it's like, well, that's the final straw. And it's like, you had Galactus coming down to eat the entire planet, and that didn't trigger anything. You know, you've had other horrific situations, and that didn't trigger anything. Now all of a sudden it's like, well, we're going to figure out a solution, and that solution is simply, you can keep doing what you're doing, but you got to be sanctioned by the government. And if you're going to be sanctioned by the government, we got to find out who you are, and you got to let everybody know. And it's like, I don't understand why you have to let everybody know. You can let the government know, but why do you have to, like, let everybody know?
Right.
Because you're still sanctioned by the government.
Yeah, you raise a good point in that people, the civilians in the Marvel Universe, have seen Galactus, have seen aliens, Skrulls, have seen all kinds of mystical things. They already know that they're not in control, right? They have no ability to control this whatsoever. And yet, maybe like America is right now. No, wait.
Uncertain times.
Yeah, in these uncertain times, we try to control what we can't control. And that's the deeper issue, I think. I don't know where I was going. What was I saying? Yeah, so these, what were they? What was the group? The new group? The
New Warriors.
New Warriors, thanks. And I just read this. They explode, and Tony Stark gets guilty conscience when, a couple of the parents start yelling at him and everything like that. So, in a way, if I place myself in the civilian's shoes, I could see where you're just totally mad at anybody who thinks they can, take the law in their own hands, kind of thing. So, I mean, the first few chapters, I'm in it. It's kind of like, okay, I get it. Where this story loses me is when the heroes all gather around, and you got, Doctor Strange. You got super powerhouses here. Doctor Strange, he could do something to the world and make them all forget, or he could identify, maybe create a spell that, is something that would make this not necessarily an official public outing of all these heroes. But what I didn't like is when suddenly Captain America is enemy number one in S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, it was a good scene, but suddenly Cap says, hey, I'm not really into this. And then S.H.I.E.L.D. suddenly wants to arrest him, and he's, to be taken down. And it's like, I'm not sure you guys understand this, but it just doesn't seem like that was a wise choice. But it was kind of cool. It was neat seeing him surf on a big jet and everything like that.
Yeah, makes his escape on a jet, gets out of there. But yeah, that did seem a little like right to it.
Right.
We're not,
where's this coming from?
No further discussion, jumping right in.
Right. It seemed a little out of place. Maybe I was expecting that later in the series after some more debate, but 3 pages into the debate, let's just take Captain America down. He disagrees with us. Then, of course, they got to choose sides. And I was a little surprised on whose side was who, who sided with whom. I don't know. The story was kind of all over the place. I get these big events. They got to, they have limited pages. They have so much story. And some of these stories go into their own books and stuff like that. But it's just, like you said, it was crowded. It made me laugh sometimes on how crowded it was, how the story was kind of hard to follow, even though it shouldn't have been. Like, just so many characters, and then you throw in every 3 pages there's a villain, or it just was really, like, I thought Crisis on Infinite Earths, which we haven't reviewed yet. I was thinking maybe episode 100 for that one. But I thought there was a lot of characters in that, and it was every DC character ever made. But this Marvel one seemed to include every DC character ever made too. Really crowded.
And some.
Overall, what do you think of the art?
Very good art. I think the coloring was way overdone. And I know it sounds really kind of but I mean, there's they were trying to get some photorealism in comic book art. The skin tones and the subtle highlights, the shadowing, the reflective light, all of it was wow. The colorists spent so much time that in some ways it made everybody look rubbery. They were just too rendered. And then the illustrator, just cannot, there's something about this individual illustrator, great illustrator, unique, very distinct style, but loves giving everybody like lips, and no one's got like a closed mouth. Everybody's kind of got like a blue, blue, like they're just about to blow a bubble, and I can't get past that. But again, solid illustrations, can draw, buildings, vehicles, equipment, armor, you name it. Solid. There isn't I don't feel like there was any weakness that came up in McGibbon or whatever it had done.
It's McNiven.
Was just solid work. I just can't get past that. Like, close your freaking mouth.
Pouty lips.
Yeah. It was just like you're presenting your bottom lip like, okay, you can go ahead and pierce it now. It's kind of like you didn't have to have everybody do that. I will say, in a version of the trade paperback, and it had the Michael Turner, like all the alternate covers and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like any of the Michael Turner covers, and I know people love Michael Turner, but I did not. All the Michael Turner covers looked as if Marvel Comics went to a disco in the late 70s. They're all striking poses, just like John Travolta would have. It was all glitz, glamour, and everything when it came to those covers. Everything's like super dramatic, but there wasn't really anything related to the book. It was just like, okay, Michael, I would like you to just make a very nice drawing of Spider-Man and his, mechanical armor. And it's like, well, what does this do with the rest of the story? Does this actually happen? Don't worry about it. Doesn't have to have anything to do with the story. We just want a good Michael Turner drawing. In fact, a lot of them looked as if they didn't ink them. They just kind of like took his pencils.
Yeah.
And then colored on top.
Yeah, I've never been crazy about Michael Turner. I know he's got a following. For me, it always seems incomplete. I've never been a big fan. I'm sorry. I was sorry he died, but not my thing. I don't have to like every artist that everybody else likes. But the interior with McNiven, I did enjoy it. I think you're right. He could draw pretty much anybody, and each one kind of looks a little different. At least you could tell who everybody is. And he had a steady hand. The only thing I didn't like that he drew was Spider-Man. For some reason, I just don't like his Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, as in like the armor, like the
armored one.
Armored yes. Spider-Man, yeah.
Yeah, I like the original costume. Maybe that's just my preference of costume, but I don't know. He looked weird in that costume, or the costume looks weird. Maybe it's both. Did they ever explain, here's a little bit into the story here, how all these people could suddenly see the Watcher suddenly show up, and like, isn't he supposed to be invisible to everybody?
I think there was a line that's kind of like, somehow Palpatine came back, kind of a throwaway single one-off line.
Yeah, I think that was actually for the Star Wars movie, though, Mike.
Oh,
I think that was right. Civil War, yeah.
But it's kind of like, Doctor Strange basically says, well, he shows up when there's some sort of upheaval.
But why can't we see him?
Yeah. It's like, does that mean that he showed up, at every one of these Marvel cataclysms? Because especially after this, I mean, every summer it's like, oh no, all the mutants are dead. Okay, did the Watcher just show up like that? Nope.
Maybe he did.
Okay.
I don't know.
When the Annihilation thing. Nope. What about the Secret Wars thing? Don't think so. Apparently, those were not considered as much as an enormous upheaval.
The heroes didn't get along.
Yeah, they're throwing a temper tantrum at each other.
Which isn't that every comic in the 80s and the 70s where, there's always a battle with superheroes. I mean,
yeah. I mean, how many comics had like Hulk punching Thing on the cover, or Thor, swinging his hammer at Silver Surfer?
Right. Why make it official as Civil War? I mean, this is just a standard superhero comic.
The one big takeaway that I got out of this entire comic series, and then I'll give it my one, like, what the heck, was it had lasting consequence. It didn't end with, the status quo being reestablished. It didn't end with everything right where we started. We're right back there again.
Yeah.
It was like, nope, this is going to linger. This is going to have residual effects. And a lot of any of these comic tie-in things have no ramifications down the road, or they get completely undone.
Yeah, I was going to ask what ramifications this had, because, I mean, I wasn't reading a lot of comics at the time, and I don't know how long the ramifications lasted afterward. I mean, sure, it ended on a kind of, this is how it's going to be. And I do recall a couple like series like where they're starting new superhero groups, like an academy or something like that. But I don't recall how long the actual rules that ended up being, you have to register, how long that lasted. Do you know?
Not a clue. Again, like I said, this was during my blackout stages of comics. No, I wasn't picking up anything. I was at the game company, so we weren't doing licensed superhero things like when I was at the toy company. So I was like, well, not really interested in the comics. I was interested in games. So yeah, I had no idea, but I just knew that, Spider-Man outing himself as Peter Parker had some things that happened, that they were like, well, that's out, cat's out of the bag. And then the, registration thing kept going for a while. I think they said, something about like 10 years that was, in real time, still being kind of brought up every now and then in the comics. And then, some of the things where it's like, I mean, got overshadowed pretty quick with like, oh yeah, Captain America got shot.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that kind of like, well, that was bigger news than this whole thing. I will say my biggest downside. So like I said, the biggest thing was like, okay, he establishes a new, like, yep, this is it. Captain America's been arrested. There's this registration act. There's this, different teams forming all over the United States. Why is there like, you have to reveal yourself, Beta Ray Bill?
Right.
Why wouldn't you feel you're an alien? This is a law in one country on a planet that you have no interest in being in. There's no need for you to, feel obligated to adhere to it.
Right. I would have moved to France.
But, Hercules, I mean, he's a Greek god or demigod, technically. There was no need for him to feel like, oh, I got to fight for this. You're kind of off the hook.
Right. Just because you're an Avenger, you have no secret identity. You have no worries at all.
Yeah.
You're not an American citizen at all. It was a little weird. It got weirder when they cloned Thor, like he's a robot.
Yeah, but it was like a clone and a robot at the same point.
It's a robo-clone.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was a nice little twist. And he, of course, kills Bill Foster.
Bum, bum, bum.
And, that sets things even worse for the heroes. I have to laugh that throughout the entire book, both teams have spies on the other team.
Yeah.
And, there's so many people, like, changing their minds and going to the other team. It seemed kind of silly.
Yeah. It was like, okay, you only have 7 issues, so somebody switching sides is kind of, the stakes aren't there. There's no build up, so it's not like, oh, can you believe it? No one's sitting at the water cooler the next day going, hey guys, did you read that latest issue? Did you believe that Tigra was ratting them out? Did you believe that it was Hulkling all along as a...
The only thing that, that made sense was the Sue Storm, like they did kind of build that up, but yeah, everything else was like, oh, okay. Now they turned turned, and they're on the other team now. They decided Tony Stark's right. It's like, oh, okay, that's in one panel last issue we're like fighting against him, and now we're supposed to believe you just okay. I think you're right.
Yeah.
And it was silly. It had a lot of neat little things. They had a jail in the negative zone, and
Which you reused for the Superman movie.
oh, they did, didn't they? Ooh, controversy. But I liked some of the ideas on it.
Yeah, but again, there were characters that just don't work in a setting like this. So, like, doesn't Cable come from the future? Wouldn't he have already seen how this came out?
Yes, absolutely.
So why would he pick a side? Couldn't he have gone like, hey, guys, this is the day that Black Goliath dies. You know that, right? Oh, crap, really? We should probably protect him from this happening.
It's funny you say that because I'm just finishing up Civil War 2, and it's about the future.
There's a lot of characters that just show up for one panel and you never see them again. So there's a supposed to be kind of this like dramatic, pivotal page of these characters coming in, and it's like, reinforcements are coming in, and this one set of reinforcements, we're in trouble now. And it shows a fully alive Captain Marvel, like, the Gil Kane costumed Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
It's like, I thought that dude died.
I think
Where did he come from?
I think it's his son. But
oh, well, there we go. But he's there, and you don't see him ever drawn again.
Of course not.
And then conversely, there's, another shot that was, here comes the Atlanteans. And you're like, ugh. So apparently, like, this whole, like, Sue Storm goes to try to entice Namor to, fight on their side. He's like, oh, but there's something going on. And then it's like, chicka, chicka, wah, wah, kicking in.
Wink,
it's
wink.
like, well, Reed and I just aren't seeing eye to eye. Well, I could comfort you in the warm, or the hot tub that is my entire kingdom. All of a sudden, it's like, Imperious Rex. And here's Namor and all the Atlanteans, fish people, dropping out of the sky. I thought Namor was only one with the little, like, ankle wings. So I don't know.
He's the first mutant.
Yeah. So then he's flying from on high with a bunch of them. And the very next page is like, oh, wow, look at that. That's reinforcements for, like, Captain America and his team. And the very next page, here comes Thor and a bunch of reinforcements for their team. And it's like, really? I mean, it's the very next page. You have a big old, like, here's a bunch of characters from this group. And you're almost getting like, is this the battle of 5 armies?
It is. I can't wait for the eagle to drop down.
And throughout the entire comic, I had never seen the character Vision drawn, except for, like, the covers that Michael Turner had done. And maybe I glossed over him. Maybe I just wasn't paying that much attention. Maybe he was there more often than I thought, but I wasn't seeing him. And all of a sudden he just shows up, phases his hand right through Iron Man, and in doing so, knocks out Iron Man's armor again, which is like, what, the third time this happens in this series? Electric, powers down your armor, compromises it, and now people can fight him. But then, again, Vision just goes away.
His job was done.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you can exit. Thanks for your cameo. Too many characters that you just can't... When they show up, you're like, I don't know what side this person's on, because I've never seen you in the comics until I see who you punch. And even then, you might punch somebody that I've never seen before again.
Right. So whose side is he on?
Yeah, he just...
Who did he punch?
All in all, it was a fun, like, Rock'em Sock'em Robots. It's a good popcorn comic series. They try to do something big. It had some lasting repercussions. 7 issues is an odd number. I couldn't figure that part out either. because usually these things are done in like, a 6-issue series. So it's like a half a year or a 12 or a 10, or it's usually at least in an even number increment.
You just couldn't fit it all into 6.
It could have fit in 6. It could have, they could have bloated it up a little bit longer and expanded on these concepts of like what these teams were going to be, some of the ramifications that Sue comes in saying like, we're going to have a blue skinned baby. Just brace yourself. The entire run was like Captain America surrenders at the end. The teams kind of go like, is that it? It's kind of like, that when I hit that page and Captain America says, okay, let's stop fighting. The sequence from Forrest Gump when he's done running and all those people were following him for the years that he was running across America. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It's like, I guess we're done running, and it was almost like Forrest saying, it's like, what does this mean? What I'm done running, and it's like, oh, okay. All those people that were running with him for those years, they just have no purpose anymore. It's like, suddenly I don't feel like killing anymore.
Right. Let's talk about the ending there. I hated it. I hate most endings on stories because I don't think they nail the landing very often. Even all this build up, yeah, Cap quits. I don't even understand the Punisher. Don't get me started there. And then they summarize it with, some of the team went to jail. Some of the team still fighting in the secret hideouts. A lot of them accepted who they were and, joined the Registration Act and now are part of the 50 state initiative. I know you said there were repercussions and all that stuff. And certainly the Captain America being shot on the steps of whatever in the near future, that's like the story of the century.
Yeah.
But this one just kind of was a dud at the end. Tony Stark becomes the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I guess if you're following Marvel real close, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I just went, okay, so why was there 7 issues? What am I supposed to get out of that other than what I thought at the beginning was that Cap was going to just go, okay, till we figure this out, let's not fight. And then they end up trying to capture him anyway. It just seemed like a lot of reasons to fight, which, what? That's what superheroes comics are all about. This was the best series I ever thought possible. The Civil War is my favorite book ever. It was about duking it out with no meaning whatsoever.
When you just said that, it triggered something. When you were, let's say, 5-6 years old and you had your entire collection of Mego action figures, it's basically the same storyline. You just grabbed whatever figure was within reach and you just bashed them into the other figure. It's like, okay, I got a Mego Batman. Oh, here's the Mego Spider-Man. They're going to fight. Fight. Oh, no, he won. Okay, grab this guy. Okay, now it's the Hulk versus Mego Spider-Man. Fight. It's about that equivalent. Mark Millar's writing has some nice moments definitely to it, but like, the Watchmen, it's like the villain kind of won at the end. It's like, yeah, I already did this. I did this 20 minutes ago. And that's an amazing payoff. Kind of the similarities between, like, if you saw the movie American Graffiti, and it's kind of like the day in the life of these people in California. And then the end, they showcase all the, the characters. And it's like, this character went to college, became a lawyer, lived happily ever after. This character, was drafted into Vietnam, served two tours of duty, then came back home, or whatever. And you're just like, oh, okay. That was just kind of this rapid fire. We're just going to tell you how things wound up, duking it out with dialogue. The dialogue's probably the one thing that separates this from getting a bunch of your toy superhero figures and just smashing them in together. That's the only difference.
Can I add? You said Watchmen, Frank Miller, Dark Knight. Can I add the Hawkeye miniseries to that?
Oh, very true. That one had such impactful
Hawkeye's
resolution
funeral,
to that.
and then they all attack each other, and Hawkeye's in his underwear and meets Mockingbird. I mean, come on, that is pivotal Marvel Comics. Essential reading. I'm gonna stick to that to my dying day.
Yeah.
Civil War was, it was okay. It was, I mean, my alter ego thinks it's the best ever, but
there was one throwaway line that made me laugh, but it was not an intentional line that made me laugh. And it was, because you were talking about the Watcher, and it kind of reminded me of this line that was in the book, and it took me a while to try to find it, and I came across it. So there is a scene where it's like, okay, let's take some of the heavy hitters, like you said, that could have swayed things in the snap of their finger. They could have just said, nope, this is the way it's going to be. Snap the finger, and everybody's back to being like, hey, I mean, like, theoretically, Doctor Strange could have time manipulated and brought all 900 of those people back to life. And it's like, okay, no harm, no foul. Everybody's back. We're good. Okay, cool.
Cannot alter the future, though.
Kal-El. But there is a scene where they kind of like, okay, what's Doctor Strange doing during all of this? And it shows him just sitting in his little, power circle at the North Pole. The Watcher is standing outside the circle looking in at him. And they had the Watcher actually talk. And I know he has talked to other characters at different times, but it's usually like, hey, I'm breaking my vow of non-interference and non-engagement because I'm a Watcher. I'm supposed to be. But I guess the Watcher is supposed to be this kind of like rebel version of a Watcher anyway. So he's standing outside the circle, and he says this one line of, how long since you have eaten now, Stephen Strange? It's like, dude, aren't you the Watcher? Aren't you the one who's supposed to be watching all this stuff going on? You know that already. Why
Isn't
do you
that
feel
on your Excel spreadsheet? Come on.
Yeah, you gotta have all this stuff already locked down. It's like, yep, it's been a while. I got it tabulated. It's over here. I watch all things at all times. I've seen the last time you've eaten.
Right. Well, I blinked. I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I got distracted.
I had to get my eyes tested, and I'm blind for a little bit.
Yeah, they're slightly dilated.
My night vision sucks now. When is the last time you've eaten?
I've been told I have glaucoma.
These cosmic beings, I question. I almost think they're a waste of space.
Well, when they get overly populated, because there's something about like when the Watcher showed up, it was like, whoa, there's this huge cosmic being. Then Galactus, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you stepped it up. But the power creep continues, and it's just like, well, how do you one up a planet eater? Well, we're going to say this person he eats universes. This person has destroyed universes, and this person, and you're like, oh. So yeah, the power creep gets pretty high pretty quick. Especially Marvel's got a lot, but DC's doing their best to catch up. But like, Batman's got some sort of deity of his own, and it just goes on and
the
on.
Speed Force. Need I say more?
Yeah. It's like, let the guy run fast. Right. He doesn't need to tap into some higher power. Just let him run fast.
Superman with the Strength Force and the Flight Force, and he's Heat Vision Force, and he enters all these dimensions. Civil War wasn't much of a civil or a war, but what we did learn out of this whole entire thing, magic can't solve everything, but hiring the villains to attack your heroes will solve everything, because villains, they never go bad again once they're hired by the good guys.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. Like they have Venom, they have Bullseye. Like they have the worst of the worst. They didn't even hire people who are like morally in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, hey, let's get the Fixer or
Stiltman.
Stiltman. No, we're gonna get people who've actually slaughtered millions, in their lifetime.
Murder's their specialty.
Right. And we'll just send them. Nothing bad could happen, right? They're the good guys now.
Yeah, but in one of the characters is called Lady Death Strike.
Right.
So that pretty much tells you Marvel's attempt to do Suicide Squad.
It's a trap. No, it's a trap here. It's a trap there. Oh, we fell for another trap, Cap. Oh, you mean Tigra is the spy? Well, don't worry. We had our spy of our own. Oh, yeah? Well, we had our spy of our own. And it was like this, in that way, in that aspect of the war, it was kind of silly, right? Because the first one, the first trap, their Cap came in. I think they were using cloaks, teleportation, or whatever, and then they get trapped by that, and then they try to rescue the heroes already in the vault prison. And it was a trap from Iron Man, but they knew it. And they had Sue Storm, who was a spy. But, oh, wait, there was another spy they had. It was Yellow Jacket, Hank Pym, one of the creators of the whole Civil War in the first place. The more I talk about this series, the more I love it. And I wish they'd just keep going on and on with this storyline.
Yeah.
You think there's an Earth that just has the Civil War going forever?
Most likely, they probably designated it. Now, let me ask you about a couple of comic panels that just doesn't sit well. I'm looking at issue 5, and the very first page, and then the following panel has a very Lannister sibling vibes to it.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So, dear listener, I will leave it to your discretion to go to go to issue 5 and the very first panel. It's like, wait, oh, okay. I misinterpreted what's happening there, but
right.
Doesn't seem quite like what.
It's quite the dance they have going on.
Yeah, and the next panel is like, you're not really helping here, folks.
I have a question about McNiven's art on these panels. It's like a straight up shot of She-Hulk's butt. And
yeah, I didn't want to bring that up, but this the artist, yeah, it's early. That's like issue 1 or 2, but
yeah,
the previous panel makes certain you cover, okay, here's the top and here's the bottom.
Right. And
so like, wow, that's I believe it looks like issue 2.
Okay. Iron Man talking to She-Hulk, and suddenly, whoa.
Yeah, it's a full 360. No lack of like. Okay, I think I've seen everything you have to offer, She-Hulk. Hey, there's a the next page. You got Sue Storm kind of like going, hey, I'll one up you, She-Hulk.
And I know it's comics.
Yep.
But,
some cheesecake here or there.
Right. That's what we love. I mean, that's what I like about it. But
they killed some people. Black Goliath got knocked out pretty quick. And I don't know if they brought him back, but then they also followed that up with kind of 2 villains that were in the new Thunderbolts, that Jack-o'-lantern and Jester.
Yeah.
I remember Jack-o'-lantern as a character, and I kind of remember Jester, but yeah, they just poof. And it's like, okay, I guess those are throwaway, like red shirts in Star Trek. Again, going back to what you were saying about the Punisher in this, was like, could you just show him as more mentally unstable? 2 villains decide to show up and try to help capsize. And he, was like, oh, okay, well, we're not really interested in villains, and the Punisher just pop.
But
And
they're
those two
murderers.
characters I had never heard of. I felt like those were clearly either made up just for this series, just to off them, or if they did exist, it's like, whoa,
Yeah, I thought the Scourge came back, you know?
yeah, Fool Killer, or yeah, Scourge, yeah, where it's just they were gonna just get rid of a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
So again, I'm assuming these characters did not come back for any reason. They most likely have in some capacity, but these guys aren't coming back. But they were probably never meant to come back anyway.
Right. Yeah, I mean, hiring the Punisher, they made him look cool, like he was stealthy and he infiltrated this place, and I'm thinking, oh, they're using the Punisher, as a hero, and then yeah, they made him all wacky and I'm gonna kill every villain, even though most of us have killed a bunch of people, and I like my Punisher, fighting street level, like Daredevil crime, and stuff like that. I don't like him. Don't give a guy a gun and then throw him into the civil war of the Marvel universe. It just doesn't work for me,
When you have Hercules potentially engaged in this, fight, the Punisher not really gonna.
Yeah, I mean,
get up
I guess you could argue, Hawkeye and the Avengers, but I just don't. I don't know. You got the Vision and all these people, and I got a gun. I'm a really good shot. And it's like, okay, I guess I'm getting old.
Yeah, old and cranky. That's our forte.
That's right. Welcome to the show. Yeah, I don't have anything more to say on this Civil War, but
yeah, I mean, I appreciated. I will give it my final review, and that's basically, I would say it's a good, solid 7 out of 10.
Out of 100.
Yeah, I would say it's a good 7, and it had more to do with the fact that they were trying to shake things up, and that I felt was pretty decent. But and I was glad to have read it. I think that's the other component as to why I would give it a higher rating. I knew that the movie that they had done was based on a comic series, so it's like, what was this comic series? What was going to happen? And then this kind of would offer up some storylines, some different types of stories that could be told going forward. What would they do with, the Nebraska superhero team?
Right.
Who did they put into Delaware? Was it when you're in a state like Rhode Island, do you get 5 superheroes? Do you get 1? Is it kind of like, Congress, where it's like, yeah, you get, the House of Representatives, depending on your population, you get a lot of heroes. You don't have a big population, you get fewer heroes.
Where there's going to be no crime, all in that like Rhode Island, Vermont, all those states that are within 5 miles of each other. There should be no crime whatsoever in that area.
Yeah, we put 50 superheroes in each of those states. Oh, right. Or maybe it's like the worst combination of heroes, where it's like, we put Spider-Woman. Oh, okay. And we put Squirrel Girl, and you're like, well, okay, we're not really getting up there any higher. And then we're also going to put in
Slingshot Boy and
yeah. Well, what was it? The Great Lake Avengers had like Mr. Immortal and Flatman, and
yeah.
It's like I said, I was glad to have read it. Glad to see that, this was kind of, if you want to say a reboot, but or reinvigorating of the status quo of the Marvel Universe. I'll give it that.
All right. Well, you gave it a 7. I was going to give it a 6 until you said, well, I had a fun read. And I thought, yeah, so did I too. I read it twice, and it was fun to read. I kind of laughed at some of the serious parts, but I did enjoy it. It was classic comic slugfest, stupid reasons why, but that's comics. So I'm gonna change my 6 to a 7. I'm gonna agree with you on that. I think the art helped. Not my favorite artist, but certainly solid, higher end,
Consistent.
yes, definitely consistent artist there. Certainly worthy of being a comic book artist at Marvel.
And then as far as covers go, did you give any of those covers like, man, that's that cover is great.
Well, that's a good question. Let me look through the covers here.
I will say one cover is valid.
Okay. Like I said, I didn't like the Michael Turner one, so I'm going to ignore that.
I don't know why. That was, I think, one of the most frustrating spots was that, everybody's like, oh, Michael Turner's so good. And it's like, these were just pinups. They didn't feel like they really captured the severity of the story. It was like, I'm going to draw Submariner with his hand outstretched. And it's like, success. You did it.
I'm curious what cover you like, because I'm looking at them, and none of them, maybe the last issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where you got the classic Captain America holding the shield and Iron Man blasting it, and everybody is like out.
Right. Yeah. I think I agree. That's my favorite.
Yeah, it showed the stakes, that we're going to be in this issue 7. It's like they're still fighting, even though absolutely everyone else is gone.
Yeah, and I think
I'll carry this on.
I would have liked to have seen more of a battle between those two.
Yeah. There's a lot of wash, rinse, and repeat. It's like, Iron Man, we're going to take your armor out of commission for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we're going to fight you. We're going to do it with an EMP nano device, or we're going to do it with the Vision, or we're going to do it with, I was like, yep.
Oh, you've read the second Civil War too?
And we're back.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Cap and Iron Man, it's Captain Marvel.
Oh, one of my favorite characters.
You love her and you know it.
Yeah. Well, now that there's been more and more Marvel movies out that I'll never see, I don't feel so bad about saying I'll never watch Captain Marvel or the Marvels. Yeah. So it's not like, oh, yeah, I missed out on those. I can't believe I was so close to have completed the set of watching all Marvel movies. And now it's like, I don't think I'm going to even go see this Doomsday one. There's no point.
I mean, I'd give both the Marvels and Captain Marvel, I'd give it a solid 4. They didn't super suck, but it was okay. If you have any opinions on the Civil War of Marvel from 2006, please let us know. Our webpage is, and this is why I love comics podcast.buzzsprout.com. We are on the email, and this is why I love comics at gmail.com. You can join us on the X, and this is YIL1. We're on the Facebook, and this is why I love comics podcast. We're on the TikTok at why I love comics podcast. Of course, any of those, you can comment, review, stuff like that, and you'll get entered into the Road to 100 episode contest. Spoke about it in the last episode. Any mentions, any comments, tell us you're out there, any emails, anything you can do to let us know you're out there. You get a chance to win the grand prize of some trades and an artist sketch by a professional that I've had done for a while now. And also, if you leave us a 5-star review, you'll get 5 entries into the contest. We just posted that episode as we're recording this, so we're getting a little time. When we hit 100 episodes, at least 100 responses, I'm going to say that right now, we will declare a winner. You might have a little time. This is only episode 87, so you have 13 episodes to try and win the grand prize. And of course, we will announce the winner when there is one. I don't know why I said that. Thanks to supporters and friends of the show. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks to producer Katie, producer Tony, co-hosts Matt 2.0, Kevin, Jamie, and Matt 10.0. And if you have any other questions about the current contest, It is on our Facebook page, and more details to come. Of course, thanks to Thunder Chicken for letting us use their music. That's all I got. What do you got, Mike?
We've talked about our Civil War. Unless you and I have a disagreement, and then we'll have our own Civil War.
Man, we should do that next episode.
Things that you like, I don't.
Whose side are you on?
Yeah, I'm more rock and roll. You're more country.
That's right. That's probably
Diane Marie.
I'm a little bit country. I'm a little bit right. At least our audience knows that, I think.
Yep, for those that are of a certain age.
And so for the podcast, I'm Andy.
And I'm like,
and we'll talk to you next time.
Just focus on the relay team. Ingest the fallacies. Write it on these cave walls. It's open for theories. These things die tomorrow. Just push in the knife to learn this forgiveness is an eyesore.
this was done during my comic hiatus.
Aren't you in it still?
Yeah. It feels like that. I'm trying to think, like, when was the last time I bought a new comic that wasn't Masters of the Universe related?
We can't believe it, and this is why I Love Comics is on the road to episode 100. And to celebrate this milestone, we're giving you a chance to win some awesome comic prizes. We're putting together a killer prize pack with at least 5 trade paperbacks and 1 signed item by comic pro Adam Hughes. And we pay for it all. Starting now, just let us know you're out there. Every time you interact with us, you get an entry. Comment on a post, send us an email or message. Tag us or mention us online in a different chat. You can even text us. Every single time counts as another entry. And if you leave us a review, that's worth 5 entries all by itself. The big drawing happens when we drop episode 100 later this upcoming year, so don't wait. Let Andy and Mike know you are out there. Start commenting, messaging, and spreading the comic love now.